Just in a closed session of council there, and everybody good to go here, folks? Council members, okay. So let's go back to our agenda. We'd like to start off with the singing of the national anthem. Adoption of minutes of previous council meeting. May I have a motion? Councillor Andrews, seconded by Deputy Mayor McIntosh, to approve the minutes of our regular and closed meetings of May 27th, May 30th, and June 5th. All in favor? Passed. So tonight we have a important delegation from the Ontario Provincial Police. They're going to provide a costing proposal tonight. We have with us Linda Davis, Linda Davis, you're a policy analyst, I believe, are you not, Linda, or costing analyst? Sure. It shows here Detachment Commander. I don't believe you are. Is that right? Yeah, we have Detachment Commander Nicole Randall and Staff Sergeant Gilbert Cadu from OPP. So just, I wanted to let everybody know that that tonight, the OPP presentation is going to be given to us. So there's going to be opportunity for councillors to ask some questions. However, we just got this on our desk this very moment, so we haven't had a chance to digest this at all at this point. So I think questions are probably going to be saved for later on when we have our public sessions, likely in September. There won't be any questions taken from the gallery tonight to the OPP, but on our website and through email at oppcosting@orangeville.ca, any questions from the public can be asked, and we welcome all of those questions. We want to be as transparent as possible. Any questions that are asked through that will be answered and published on our website. The OPP also has very comprehensive information about their organization and their costing model. And of course, our Orangeville Police Service has a very comprehensive website as well. It talks about their service. So we're looking forward to reviewing all information as this process goes on. I did also, hang on. I'm missing something here, excuse me. So we did want to welcome 2 new members to our senior staff. We have Nadini Syed, who has recently been appointed treasurer of the town of Orangeville. And we also have Andrea McKinney, who is general manager, newly appointed. And we want to welcome them, so thank you. Those are 2 extremely important positions in our organization. I want to thank Mr. Brennan and staff for getting 2 excellent candidates to come and join our team here. Okay, so moving along, I guess now's the time for our presentation. So Ms. Davis, if you'd like to go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Worship, members of council, staff, and ladies and gentlemen in the gallery. My name is Linda Davis, and I'm a municipal policing specialist in the Ontario Provincial Police. It's my pleasure to be here this evening to present to you the OPP costing proposal for policing services. In attendance with me this evening is Staff Sergeant Nicole Randall, Commander of the Dufferin County Detachment, my manager, Staff Sergeant Gilbert Cadieux. Inspector Steve Rideout is to my right. He's the Manager of Business and Finance for OPP's Central Region. And next to him is Sergeant Catherine Ross, who assisted me with this proposal. This costing was requested by the town of Orangeville through a request that was sent to the then Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services, now known as the Ministry of Solicitor General. As part of our mandate, the OPP is required to provide this costing. Our purpose here this evening is to provide you with information about policing services provided by the Ontario Provincial Police and the cost of those services. We are not here to compare the OPP with the Orangeville Police Service. We currently have a great working relationship with the members of the Orangeville Police Service, and regardless of the outcome of this costing, we want to continue working together with the goal of maintaining the safety and security of all residents and visitors to this area. My objective this evening is that at the conclusion of this presentation, you will have a clearer understanding of the OPP's proposal in order to assist you in making an informed decision on your community's future policing needs. That being said, you will receive a lot of information this evening, and I suggest that you keep some notes and review the material that we have provided to you that should have found at your places there. Should you require further information or clarification, we can provide that to you through my contact with the town, CAO Ed Brennan. I have also confirmed with the mayor that in an effort to maintain transparency, all provided materials, questions, and responses will be available to the public on your town website. In your packages, you will find, in addition to a copy of this presentation, the contract proposal, our 2017 annual report, the OPP Policing Services Profile, and a Police Service Board governance document, which outlines the differences between a Section 10 Police Service Board and a Section 31 Police Service Board, which is currently in place in Orangeville. This evening we will address the following areas: provincial support, regional support, services delivered by the detachment, OPP accountability and reporting, the transition contract, and the cost of policing the town of Orangeville. Following the presentation, we can answer questions for clarification in relation to the information provided. This evening's presentation is not meant to be a question and answer session with the public. Council is encouraged to set up public consultation meetings in the future to allow for public input. On the screen, you will see an organizational chart of our command structure showing our commissioner, Thomas Carrique, and provincial commanders along with the program areas that they are responsible for. Mary Silverthorne, Provincial Commander of Corporate Services. Mark Pritchard, Acting Provincial Commander, Traffic Safety and Operational Support. Rick Barnum, Deputy Commissioner of Investigations and Organized Crime. And Fern LaBelle, Acting Provincial Commander of Field Operations. The OPP is a provincial police service. Our commissioner reports to the Solicitor General, Sylvia Jones. The OPP was formed in 1909 and has a long history of municipal policing in Ontario. We have been policing municipalities in Ontario under contract since the 1940s. We currently police 325 of 444 municipalities in Ontario on a cost recovery basis. We currently have 116 contracts serving 147 municipalities and 178 municipalities receiving policing services from the OPP under a Section 5.1 Police Service Act non-contract agreement. The OPP cost recovery process is mandated and geared to achieving fair cost recovery from municipalities. With over 8,300 members assigned to work in locations across Ontario, we have vast experience in both provincial and municipal policing throughout the province. Our latest annual report, which is in your package, gives you a snapshot of the OPP in 2017. Our 2018 annual report will be available within the next month, and we will be able to provide you copies when it is available. Each report provides an overview of the extensive services we deliver under both of our provincial and municipal mandates. The 2017 report includes a segment on OPP municipal policing costs, which may be of particular interest to you. It will be found on page 14 of the annual report. The scope of our responsibility includes traffic safety and community policing, combating organized and technically complex crime, emergency response, and crime prevention. While these are all day-to-day activities, they certainly are not static. We remain committed to delivering policing services that are intelligence-led and applying analytics in the deployment of resources to target public safety trends. In the next few slides, I'll provide an overview of the resources and the services that are available to your town that are managed at a provincial as well as a regional level. Although the OPP is large, the members that serve Orangeville will continue to provide policing services that caters to the people and to the needs of your community. There are benefits and economies of scale that come with being part of a larger organization. Should your town accept the OPP proposal, you will receive extensive administrative and operational support from our general headquarters in Orillia and our regional headquarters also located in Orillia. General headquarters provide support in the areas bulleted on this slide, including major case management, surveillance, hate crimes, and child sexual exploitation, to name a few. Available to Orangeville are many OPP specialists that will assist local members by providing them with investigative expertise and support as needed. Further details on these services and others can be found in your handouts and specifically in the OPP Policing Services Profile booklet. By choosing to be policed by the OPP, you are contracting a turnkey operation. We do all the heavy lifting, so to speak, leaving your police service board to engage with the detachment commander to ensure areas of concern are addressed. We assume responsibilities of recruitment, training, payroll, freedom of information requests, policy development, and maintenance, all conducted internally, alleviating work to the municipality. The administrative support your municipality will receive will save your staff time and allow them to focus on greater projects for the town. With over 100 years of policing experience in both rural and urban settings, policies are developed and maintained to improve policing and to limit risk. The OPP is liable for any damages that arise from any negligent acts or omissions of its members. The OPP is accountable to the municipalities that we serve at all levels of our organization. This is affirmed provincially by our Commissioner, Thomas Carrique, regionally by our Chief Superintendent, Rose DeMarco, and locally by the Detachment Commander. Listed on this slide are some of the program supports provided from the regional level, including criminal investigations, community policing, and dispatch services. The in-service training program, also referred to as IST, is designed to offer professional instruction to OPP employees. Instruction is provided for mandatory training in the areas that you see here on the slide. In-service training is a division of the OPP Academy located in Aurelia at our general headquarters. There are 15 deployed IST sites across the province providing training for every region. In-service training is mandatory for every officer to attend and successfully complete annually. Ontario Regulation 3/99 sets out the requirements for adequate and effective policing services. Adequacy and effectiveness of the OPP is monitored both internally by the Quality Assurance Unit as well as externally by the provincial auditor who conducts audits at regular intervals, with follow-ups to monitor any items requiring corrective action. Now that I have provided you with some information about the services that the OPP provides on a provincial and a regional level, I would like to play a short video on our integrated service delivery model, after which the Dufferin County Detachment Commander will provide you with information regarding local service delivery.
The Ontario Provincial Police operate out of host detachments, satellite offices, 5 regional headquarters, 1 divisional headquarters, and a general headquarters. With a footprint that covers more than 1.1 million kilometers of land and 100,000 kilometers of waterways. The OPP currently provides policing services to more than 320 municipalities on a cost recovery basis. Detachments operate on an integrated service delivery model, which allows for the blending and sharing of resources. Detachment officers provide policing services to 1 or more municipality and also provide policing services on King's highways, provincial parks, and waterways in accordance with provincial obligations. Officers in detachments are not designated as municipal or provincial officers and will often work in multiple locations during a shift. Integrated service provides the OPP with more flexibility to meet changing policing demands at a lower cost than having one standalone detachment serving a single municipality. It allows municipalities and the province to share the cost of detachment supervisory and administrative positions and detachment infrastructure. Combining the resources required to police multiple municipalities within one detachment provides a larger number of officers to draw on for major occurrences and emergencies. Detachments can direct more resources to a major occurrence without relying on overtime. The integrated service model also allows for coordinated policing strategies for issues that often span multiple jurisdictions. Being part of a larger, regional-type policing model offers communities the opportunity to engage and partner with other community safety and wellness agencies outside of municipal boundaries. Regional and general headquarters supply regular and specialty resources to detachments as needed. The OPP utilizes daily activity reporting as a system to record the time and location an officer works to ensure municipalities do not pay for provincial policing obligations. The OPP does not typically provide a standalone or independent policing option, as the integrated model is more efficient and works best with the OPP's footprint across the province.
Perfect.
If we can
I would
hold-
now like to
If we can hold
introduce-
for one moment, we've got some technical glitches here. Mona, I'm down. Okay, council members, suggestion, since our systems have crashed, that we go out and watch the screen and just stand and we'll watch the presentation out there, and then we can come back and, I don't think so, no.
There are copies of the slides in the packages also.
Council members, the slide presentation is in your package, so we can follow along. Ms. Davis, carry on, please.
I would now like to introduce Staff Sergeant Nicole Randall, Detachment Commander of the Dufferin County Detachment, to provide you with an overview of the proposed amalgamated structure and policing deployment.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda. Good evening, Your Worship, members of council, Mr. Brennan, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery. My name's Nikki Randall. I've been the detachment commander at Dufferin since July of 2017. I also acted here as the detachment commander starting in November of 2016 for a short while. I'm about to enter my 24th year of policing. I started in Cayuga in 1995. From there, I went to Brant County and transferred to Caledon in 1998. I spent 16 years in Caledon doing almost every job available to do at Caledon Detachment, including community services, breath technician, platoon supervisor, media relations, community services, etc. In March of 2014, I joined the Pan Am Integrated Security Unit, where I assisted with transportation and logistics planning for 21 months. At the end of the Pan Am Games, I was promoted into the position of Staff Sergeant in Staff Development and Training in the Highway Safety Division in Aurora. And it was there that I stayed until I came to Dufferin. The OPP is accountable to the detachment commander through the detachment commander to the police services board, municipal councils, and the citizens of municipalities we serve. Municipalities entering into a contract with the Ministry of the Solicitor General receive their policing pursuant to Section 10 of the Police Services Act. We've included in your package a fact sheet outlining the differences between a Section 10 PSA, Police Services Act, and a Section 31 PSA, policing. In regard to integrated integrated service delivery, as you heard on the video, and you can see here, there's advantages and benefits to us using an integrated service delivery model. We provide policing services to one or more municipalities. It allows us to share our administration, supervisory, and other resources, and officers provide municipal and provincial policing duties. We have enhanced flexibility in meeting fluctuating demand at a lower cost, economies of scale by sharing resources, that means people and equipment, and a larger number of officers to draw on for major occurrences and emergencies. So that provides us a more effective response and reduces our overtime. Coordinated policing strategies we use also for multi-jurisdictional issues. This slide is a draft slide, a proposed amalgamated structure if the town of Orangeville decided to amalgamate with the OPP. As you see here, there would be one detachment commander led by an inspector and 2 detachment managers, one in Orangeville and one in the Primrose location. There would be 4 platoons of constables, 10 constables on each platoon, and 2 sergeants on each platoon. And then there are a number of other resources that would be deployed between the 2 offices, including 8 detective constables and 4 community street crime unit members. There would also be a detachment support sergeant position in each office, and the roles such as property officer, community services, school resource officers, domestic violence, mental health officers, media relations, and court security and administrative staff, and 5 detachment admin clerks positions. As you see at the top there, the crime supervisor and the community street crime supervisor positions are regional positions, and they're supplied by region. We don't pay for them.
Next slide.
Next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah. Just want to back up one. I just wanted to add that in this amalgamated structure, if on-duty members are unavailable for calls, if they're tied up with investigations or court attendance, emergency calls for service would be responded to by on-duty resources from other zones. The integrated service delivery combines resources within one detachment to provide a large number of officers to draw on for major occurrences. And it also provides sergeants the flexibility in meeting policing demands, shift scheduling, court scheduling, and supervision. These all aim to reduce overtime. Currently, the detachment platoon operates on a 5-5-4 schedule with our administrative schedule as an 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. schedule, Monday to Friday. Thank you. This slide represents the current and the proposed zone structure within the Dufferin County. Right now, we have 3 zones, which consist of Zone 1 is Mono. Zone 2 is combined Mulmer and Melanchthon, and Zone 3 is Amaranth, East Luther, Grand Valley, and East Scariffraxa. The proposal would be to add Orangeville as a Zone 4 on its own. This makes the most sense to us because it's currently the way we operate, and it keeps Orangeville within the boundaries, and it allows for easier movement back and forth. The number of officers on duty at any time. The patrol schedule includes 4 platoons with 2 sergeants and 10 constables, as I said, on duty 24/7 coverage. 1 sergeant and 4 constables will be assigned to zones 1 through 3, and 1 sergeant and 6 constables would be assigned to Zone 4 in Orangeville. Current OPP technology allows for dispatching the closest car to the call. Therefore, if a Zone 3 car is closest to the call in Zone 4, then they would be sent to the call-in Zone 4 and vice versa. It's my job and the job of the platoon sergeants to ensure appropriate coverage will be achieved across the detachment area and in the patrol zones. And there would never be a time when an OPP detachment had no officers working. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as you can see, this is just a pictorial of what the current zones are and what the proposed zone is. And as you can see, Orangeville itself is actually surrounded by Zone 1 and Zone 3. And quite often, officers right now will travel through Orangeville to get from Zone 1 to Zone 3 and back the other way. Community policing is a fundamental principle under which all of our services are delivered. Ontario's mobilization and engagement model of community policing forms a part of all of our business planning. The concept of community policing is realized when police mobilize, engage, and partner with members of community to prevent crime and reduce victimization. The intelligence-led and consultative approach to crime prevention employed by the OPP has resulted in effective and proactive programs for deterring and reducing crime, as well as fostering relationships necessary to aid in solving crimes that do occur. Research, development, and implementation of various programs are a collaborative process. Police service boards play an important role in determining objectives and priorities for the provision of police services. A local Orangeville Police Services Board would have to be maintained should the municipality choose to opt for the police service delivery by the OPP. As detachment commander of the Orangeville Dufferin Detachment, I would be responsible for administrating the police service and overseeing its operation in accordance with the objectives, priorities, and policies established by the board. Next slide, please. These are some of the community policing programs that currently exist. And I'd like to highlight that Dufferin Detachment has just been granted auxiliary program, and we are having our sergeant interviews on Thursday, and we hope to have our unit up and operational by September. So that fundamental to community policing is our work with our auxiliary program. Within OPP detachments, there's often one community services officer assigned to administer the programs, and that officer is supported by all detachment members on platoon and in different units, depending on the nature of the program. For example, Project Freeze and Project Heat, any and all uniform members can issue a positive ticket to any community member seen using good safety practices such as wearing a bicycle helmet. Members of the crime unit, street crime teams, and OPP GHQ can assist by providing subject matter experts to speak to internet safety, bullying prevention, and other community safety concerns. Where possible, the OPP deploys school resource officers to local schools to interact with the school community. They often teach, provide an ear to listen, and guide, as well as build relationships with the leaders of the future. The willingness of the OPP to discuss further programs is required. The detachment commander will work with the Town of Orangeville Police Services Board in maintaining or establishing local community programs based on consultation with the board in regard to local objectives and priorities. As the detachment commander, I'm required to meet with the Police Services Board a minimum 4 times a year. The standardized reports are available for that purpose, and the Police Service Board plays a participatory role in the selection of the detachment commander. Next slide, please. Currently, the OPP provides policing services to 6 municipalities within Dufferin County. There are 5 Section 10 contracts and 1 Section 5.1 municipality. As a result, I report to and work in partnership with 5 police services boards. And there are 2 joint police service board meetings per year. And the local community satisfaction survey results from 2018 are what you see presented in this slide. Next slide. Thanks.
Okay. You have now heard about the services that we can provide to you on a provincial, a regional, and a detachment level, along with the local operational plan of the detachment. Over the next several slides, we will go over information relating to the transition contract, staffing numbers, as well as the contract proposal costs. Should Orangeville accept the OPP's proposal, you will enter into a transition contract before being integrated into the OPP billing model. So why a transition contract? There are basically three reasons why. First off, Ontario Regulation 267-14 was enacted January 1st, 2015, and this deals with how the OPP bills municipalities for policing. The regulation was and is specific to municipalities currently policed by the OPP. New municipalities that amalgamate with the OPP need to therefore go through a transition contract before being integrated into the current OPP billing model. Secondly is the need for data. In order for the OPP to effectively integrate new municipalities into the current billing model, we will require a history or benchmark of OPP data. Specifically, activity reporting data that was mentioned in the video and calls for service data within our own systems. In order to accomplish this task, municipalities are required to enter into the 3-year-plus contract so that the activity data can be collected from the officers that are working in this new zone. The final reason involves the Ontario Civilian Police Commission, and I'll call them the OCPC. In order for a municipality to change their police service arrangements, the OCPC must provide approval. Two of the Commission's main goals are to ensure that the new policing arrangement will provide adequate and effective policing services for your town, and that the employees of the police service are dealt with in a reasonable manner. The Commission measures policing service using full-time equivalents, referred to as FTEs. As such, an FTE-based transition contract allows them to assess the adequacy of the new policing arrangements. As I mentioned, the transition contract is based on FTEs. As such, the agreement provides your town with a defined number of contractual hours of service. One FTE is equal to 1,417 hours. This is an availability factor used to identify time spent in your community where an officer has provided proactive policing or responding to calls for service. They are what we call the boots on the ground hours. For example, in your case, Orangeville would have 42.58 uniform FTEs. When you multiply that by 1,417 hours, it means you would receive over 60,000 hours of service per year, which if divided evenly over a year, averages to 165 hours of service per day, which is equivalent to 6.9 FTEs, 24 hours a day. For those of you wondering why there's a plus in the 3+ years, it's because the contract ends at the end of the year so that it aligns with the OPP billing model, which is based on a calendar year. For example, if Orangeville were to sign a contract effective January 1st, 2020, it would expire on December 31st, 2023. The length of the transition contract would be 3 years and 7 months, after which Orangeville would be billed based on the OPP billing model. A little bit about the OPP billing model. Our current model for municipal cost recovery is provincially focused, meaning that it's based on the services that we provide to all municipalities that we recover policing costs from. Base service includes the infrastructure, the people, and the equipment to provide proactive policing and to respond to calls. It is billed on a per-property basis. Calls for service costs are calculated on a 4-year rolling average, and the municipality is billed for their percentage of the provincial total. Other costs in the billing model relate to overtime, enhancements, court security, prisoner transportation, as well as accommodation and cleaning. You may recall this information from our presentation to Council on the OPP billing model at the April 29th Council meeting that we provided this year. Okay, taking a look at the amalgamated staffing chart. The first column shows what your police services current complement is. The second column shows the Dufferin County OPP detachment complement. The third column shows the amalgamated complement. The column shows the portion that the town of Orangeville would be billed during the transition contract, and this is the column that I am going to be focusing on right now as I speak. As part of an integrated detachment, Orangeville's share of the detachment commander has been calculated at 0.58% as shown here in the fourth column. That percentage represents Orangeville's share of the uniform complement, which would be 42 of 72 uniform FTEs. Regarding Orangeville's chief and deputy chief positions, should they choose to join the OPP, their rank will be determined through the OPP rank level determination process. For the purpose of balancing the full-time equivalent count, those two positions have been included down in the constable count with the designation RLD, representing rank level determination. Orangeville's current staff sergeant positions will also be subject to rank level determination. However, the new proposed complement requires one staff sergeant position for the town of Orangeville. The second staff sergeant position has been included in the constable count for now, and again, that would be based on the rank level determination as to where they would fall. Although there are only 30 constables currently employed by Orangeville Police Service, the authorized strength for OPS is 32 constables. We will staff up to the full 32 constable positions. Orangeville Police Service currently reports one detachment administrative clerk. Our analysis has determined that 3 are required to staff the Orangeville office. For court security, we converted 3 full-time and 7 part-time positions to 2 full-time and 8 part-time special constable civilian positions, which works out to 6 full-time FTEs. Another special constable position will be maintained for court administration. The dispatcher and civilian data entry positions would not be required. Their role would be completed by existing support staff performing these functions. Orangeville Police Service members currently in these positions would be encouraged to apply for any civilian positions available. Altogether, Orangeville would be provided the services of and billed for 42.58 uniform FTEs and 10 civilian FTEs. The 10 civilian FTEs would be made up of 14 people, 6 full-time and 8 part-time. Now, in your packages, you'll see your contract proposal. And if I could get you to turn to page 9 in your proposal, I will break up the costing summary page into 3 sections for you. For the members of the gallery, it's up on the screen. So looking at page 9, we use a cost recovery formula to calculate the cost of policing municipalities. This formula is updated annually to reflect the rates for the current year. Where there are notes in the second column, further clarification is provided on the back of the page, on page 10 of the contract proposal. Salary rates for each rank are based on a weighted averages. Salary rates, statutory holiday payouts, and shift premiums are all reconciled to the provincial average for the billing year. Overtime will be allocated to the municipality based on their actual overtime incurred in the applicable year. So looking at this slide, the uniform salary costs are $6.1 million. Below that, you will find the salary and benefit costs for the 10 civilian FTE positions. The civilian salary costs are just over $800,000. Looking at the middle of that page, where the area is titled Support Staff Salary and Benefits. Examples of support staff include dispatchers, guards, technology, and radio support staff. For a police service to function, we require support staff. These support services are billed on a per-officer basis. For Orangeville, the calculation would be 42.58 multiplied by the rate in the middle column. Municipal Policing Bureau leads the project that reviews and refreshes the costing formula each year. The review process is done in consultation with staff of all commands throughout the OPP, and all of these support services are charged on the per-officer basis. It's important to note that the costs are a fair representation of the costs to provide municipal policing and that they are not all-inclusive. The addition of a new cost to the formula may require Treasury Board approval. The 2019 support staff salaries and benefits are just below $700,000. Now, at the bottom of that page, refer to the section titled Other Direct Operating Expenses. We also recover for other direct operating expenses on a per-officer basis. So again, to calculate these expenses, you multiply the middle column, which is the per-officer rate, by 42.58. You will also note a one-year adjustment of $91,000 at the bottom of the page. Because uniform and equipment will be billed in the initial startup cost, which you'll see on the next page, you are not required to pay this for the per-officer cost in the first year. Oops. What happened there? Okay. Over on page 11, you will see the initial costs. Upon amalgamation, there are initial startup costs with respect to uniform, equipment, and vehicles. The quantities are listed along with their associated cost. These costs are applied in the initial startup year. The total proposal for initial costs is $1.2 million. And the breakdown is on that page of what that money is going to. So this slide summarizes the estimated policing and initial costs that you will find in your proposal. Total salary and benefits is $6.9 million. Support staff salary and benefits is just $696,000. ODOE costs of $550,000 for the yearly cost of $8.1 million. There is an adjustment of $91,000 on the uniforms that I spoke to. As part of that will be included in the one-time startup costs of $1.2 million. So the total estimated cost for the first year at 2019 rates is $9.3 million. Please keep in mind that these figures do not include any revenues that the town receives, either through grants or other sources. The proposal is valid for 6 months from today's date, which will take us to December 10th, 2019. If the municipality chooses the OPP proposal, amalgamated members will report to the same Orangeville Police Service building located on C Line. The OPP has completed a comprehensive capacity assessment as a result of the visit that we had in January, and we've confirmed that there are some issues with the police station that would require attention, particularly to the security of the facilities, the accessibility, the telecommunication, and the cell areas. The cost to upgrade the facility would be at the town's expense. We propose a meeting as soon as possible with the town to discuss these issues. We will have members of our facilities section available at this meeting to deliver their report and to assist with the discussion. Included in the proposal is also an appendix that speaks to records and information management, also referred to as RIM. During the first costing proposal, OPP RIM unit assessed 3 basic areas: Orangeville Police Services' physical and electronic records, as well as the state of their storage space. The physical records and the storage space were in relatively good order. Our RIM unit will revisit and work collaboratively with Orangeville and the police service to ensure that legislated and regulatory requirements have been met, and that all 3 areas are in excellent shape should amalgamation move ahead. There are other financial considerations that do not form part of this proposal because they will be the responsibility of Orangeville. Listed in the slide are some of the examples: the cost of your police service board, a cost associated to storage of records, disposals of assets, severances, pension divestments, and costs to modify the facilities. We ask that you take your time to review the information that we've provided to you. Using the established process, any questions can be coordinated through your CAO, Mr. Ed Brennan, and we will respond accordingly. There is information about the OPP and the services that we provide on our website at opp.ca. If you search for Municipal Policing Bureau from the main page, you will find additional information and resources that should answer a lot of your questions. Please feel free to direct your residents to this information. If the proposal is accepted, we will require a bylaw accepting the proposal. The OCPC, which is the Ontario Ontario Civilian Police Commission, brief and hearing will be required to be put together, which the OPP will assist in. Information session for amalgamating members, training, and transition. And if the proposal is declined, we ask for notification from the town and the process is terminated. We will continue with the same excellent working relationship with the town of Orangeville and the Orangeville Police Service, with the common goal of ensuring the safety and security of all of the residents in Dufferin County. This concludes the presentation. I'd like to thank you for your time and your patience this evening, and I'd also like to thank Mr. Brennan and Laurie's Arms for their assistance. At this time, I'd like to answer any questions that council may have.
Councilors. Councilor Post.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of questions, actually. First of all, thank you very much for the very detailed information that you've provided us with. A couple of quick questions that I do have. I was just reviewing while you were speaking the costing proposal that was proposed to the town of Orangeville in 2017. which the first year costs were 8.7 million. This time around, it's 9.3, so we've got an increase of about $560,000 over what it was 2 years ago. So I was just wondering if I could get some clarity as to what that increase is from. And my second question, I did have a second question. Actually, that's good for now. I'll let you answer that for now.
Okay. I don't have the previous costing in front of me, but what you will see if you were to compare the two side by side, they were both figured out using the same process, the same methodology. If you take a look at the salary rates, you will notice that the salary rates have increased since 2017. In addition, as you look at the support services and the ODOE expenses, they are a per uniform rate. So you will be able to compare what the rate was in 2017 versus what the rate is currently in 2019. I'm going to assume that the majority of the increases in the cost are based on those rates. However, we're still costing on the same amount of people as we were in 2017.
That's perfect. If I may ask my second question.
Yes, go ahead.
There has been a lot of information in the news recently about the Ford government and the saving 4 cents on every dollar. With that information in mind, has that been taken into consideration when it comes to the kind of the going forward costs? I know that there was a great reduction in OPP overall that was announced in the news of that 4%. Just curious if that was taken into consideration at the time that the cost was put together.
I believe that that news came out after the costing was actually prepared. However, the OPP, like the rest of the Ontario Public Service, is in an ongoing period of financial constraints. This is not a unique situation for the OPP. We have dealt with budget reductions and financial constraints in the past, in previous years, and we will continue to do so. They are financially challenging times for not only the OPP, but for municipalities also. It will be difficult, but not impossible, to achieve the saving targets that the Ford government has put forward. As part of ongoing efforts to be fiscally responsible, there are 2 main budget implications that are marked to explore the opportunities for these cost savings within our organization. The first is in cost efficiency and procurement. We're hoping to have a 10% reduction in the ODOE costs. So the ODOE budget is what we're trying to work on. In addition, the OPP will be moving on a workforce efficiency. So this is moving from a 2% vacancy rate to a 5% vacancy rate. On average, compared to other police services, the 5% vacancy rate is in line with other police services in the province, and we are not really outside the norm on that. So those are the 2 areas that our organization is currently targeting to achieve those savings.
Councillor Andrews.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and through you to Ms. Davis and also Staff Sergeant Randall. Thank you very much for your presentation this evening. To piggyback on Councillor Post's point, and again, just for clarity, I know that the Ford government has impacted many different people. Again, $46 million hit to the OPP's budget. It's reflected. One piece that I was diving into was field and traffic services. Is this reflected in your presentation and your proposal?
I'm sorry, for field and traffic services?
Yeah, will this affect part of the proposal that was presented tonight? Because that was part of one of the key points in the $46 million hit.
Yes, and those field and traffic service areas are regionally and provincially provide areas where some of our regional and provincial programs like the K-9 unit, the aviation services, that those are areas that they will target for those savings.
Okay. My second question is, again, diving into a variety of things that you have mentioned tonight. And again, as you can appreciate, we just received this prior to council and literally just before council, so we haven't had a chance to really digest it. You mentioned about the new auxiliary program. And how many auxiliary officers were you going to end up potentially adding to your platoon?
We're looking at 5, 1 sergeant and 4 constables. But
Okay.
As with everything else in the OPP, if I don't fill all 4 constable positions, I can borrow from Nottawasaga or Caledon Detachment. For example, this past weekend, we had the Compass Run. at the Compass Church, and we utilize the auxiliary officers from the Caledon unit.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me. Thank you.
Councillor Sherwood.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Ms. Davis. I'm just going over the FTE complement and not being too familiar on whether these are the amounts of positions we need. How did you determine that? Did you mirror it off of our current complement with our staffing? Because I just didn't know if you used some kind of per population basis to come up with this staffing. Because to tell you the truth, I don't know if that's too many or not enough.
The reality is that with the amalgamation, the Ontario Civilian Police Commission has a big part in approving the change of policing services, and as they measure their service in FTEs, and we are more or less responsible for maintaining the similar police service, we use the same FTEs that are authorized through the police service for our costing process.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from councillors? Seeing none, I'd like to thank Ms. Davis and Staff Sergeant Randall and Staff Sergeant Cadieux for their presentation tonight. Thank you. I think we'll take a 5-minute break, please. this meeting underway again, please?
Can you imagine if you showed up without it?
No, I would have been. Okay, counselors, are we ready to continue here? So moving along on our agenda, we have item 8, statutory public meetings, of which we have none, consent motions, of which we have none, and we do not have any staff reports, item 10. Item 11 is committee and board meetings. So we have reports from the Orangeville BIA, a couple of them. We also have Orangeville Police Service Board minutes to be received, and also Orangeville Public Library Board meeting minutes and a committee memorandum from the Orangeville Public Library Board. Councilors, do you have any questions regarding those 5 pieces of correspondence? Councilor Peters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Through you, perhaps, to Councilor Sherwood, I was just curious if someone could comment on the delay, I suppose, or the BIA minutes. We've got well over a year worth of minutes at once. Not sure if previous minutes had been presented to council, and this is just us catching up, or perhaps the clerk could answer that one for us.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, through you to the councillor. Our apologies, we did receive these minutes at some point and they were lost in transition, shall I say. So that's why there's so many now, to make sure we've got everything, and we'll stay caught up from now on.
Okay. Councilor Andrews.
Thank you very much, through your worship, to yourself and also Councillor Taylor, who sit on the Orangeville Police Services Board. There was one point in this report, I think 10.1, regarding the education on the Cannabis Act. And there was, in fact, a costing that the town received approximately $14,000 on this particular training, but there's an expense of approximately $105,000. So was this budgeted within the OPS system for this year, or how was that accounted for?
Want me to respond? So the training that went on was training that was already in process with Orangeville Police Service. I think the police chief and the Police Services Board has put a recommendation to town council to recover some of the money that the province has provided for training. There's still some ongoing discussion with town staff because, as you can appreciate, Councillor Andrews, town staff has also had to revisit legislation and bylaw enforcement and planning with respect to cannabis. So there's some town staff time that is working into this. So I think we are going to accept the recommendation for some of this money to be returned to the police service, but we're still working on what that will be following conversation with town staff.
Okay, well, thank you for that clarification, and my compliments also to the situation table information that was also included in that. That's a very unique model, one that I think in our community, bringing all the different stakeholders is really beneficial in so many different ways.
Yeah, I think, Councillor Taylor, were you at that situation table meeting? Maybe you could offer some comments. I thought it was very informative and an excellent way to help vulnerable people in our community. So, did you? I'm sorry. I'll have to cut you guys off there. Hang on. All right, Councillor Taylor.
It's unfortunate you waited so long for this because it's not really that profound, but it was an excellent presentation put forth by Mary Lou Archer, who was with OPS, and it's just one more great thing that our police service does for our community. So if the public hasn't read it, I would recommend have a read through and understand what that's all about. But it's a way for our community, our police, to link in with our community and help people who are in jeopardy potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, what we learned, though, there's a number of stakeholders within that situation table meeting. It turns out that I think it was 60 or 70% of the cases that get put before these are actually uncovered by Orangeville Police Service in there, because they're the first responders in the cases sometimes of mental health issues and such. So kudos to Orangeville Police Service and the rest of the situation table stakeholders. Councillor Sherwood.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I would like to kind of go back to the discussion that Councillor Andrews brought up about the funding that we received money towards the cannabis training. So by us approving this, we're not approving that direction yet. I'm assuming that that report will be coming from administration?
We'll ask Mr. Brennan for a comment after this, but I believe this is a partial. I believe the province has approved us for something in the order of $29,000. This is the initial ask from the police service, and my own personal opinion would be that we would allow this initial $14,000 maybe to go towards the police service and wait for town staff on the second tranche of money, so to speak. Mr. Brennan, could you comment on that?
Your Worship, yes, there's approximately, I think it's about 29,000 we've received. There is some description of how the money can be spent within the purpose of the grant itself. At this stage, town staff have not consolidated and actually may not recognize all the training that's got to go forward. But I will say that there is one taxpayer, so whether it goes towards OPS or town staff, certainly I think OPS certainly should receive part of it, if not most of it, depending on the true cost to the whole organization, which we haven't determined yet.
Right, and as we understand, at the end of each fiscal year, there's a reckoning, and if there's an additional cost by the Orangeville Police Service, the town would cover it, and if there's a surplus, then it was returned to the town. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to explain too, these minutes are for council's information only. They're not a request for approval. They are only provided to council, and you'll see that the motion is that they be received.
Okay, okay. Let me correct myself on that then. So, are there, Councillor Peters?
I was going to speak to 11.5, but maybe we want to take care of the minutes first, and then I can address that.
Sure. Okay, we have a motion to receive these minutes. Deputy Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councillor Sherwood. All in favor? That is passed. Councillor Peters, you wish to talk to 11.5.
Yes, thank you. This has to do with the North and Southern Ontario Library Service, which has been in the news quite a bit. Recently it was announced that this will be brought back to some degree, so it may appear that this motion is, or memo is somewhat moot, but I believe it still shows that the town and that council is behind the intent of the message that came from the board at the time, the library board, which was opposing the cuts that were made and the restoration of those programs. So with that background, I'd make the motion, and happy to answer, I'm sure, along with Councillor Post, any questions regarding its content.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for this memorandum from the Orangeville Public Library Board, seconded by Councillor Post and Councillor Taylor.
Nothing of substance, sadly, here. I just want to say I think it's great that the library board is being so aggressive on such an important issue. So I just wanted to offer publicly to the library board, which I know my fellow councillors Peters and Post are on, but also to the chair, Bill Ray, and to our town leader, Darla Fraser, for putting all this forward and fighting all of these things through. A vibrant library, especially our downtown library, is just so important to our town. So kudos to that board for being so proactive.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor, seconded by Councillor Post. All in favor? Okay, so 11.5 is passed. Item 12, question period. Any questions from the audience? Seeing none, we have item 13, correspondence to receive. We have 13.1, 13.2, and 13.3. Any comments from councillors on any of these items? May we had a motion to receive, please? Councillor Andrews, seconded by Deputy Mayor McIntosh. All in favor? We also have an information item. This is a heritage permit application from Sully Ramos Smokehouse, 66 Broadway. I believe this is a signage application. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? We have a motion to receive this item. Councillor Sherwood, seconded by Councillor Peters. All in favor? 15, we have no notices of motion given prior. Notice of motion at meeting. Yes, Councillor Sherwood.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I would like to put in a motion regarding the enforcement of the sign bylaw. Whereas numerous bag signs supporting Keep Orangeville Police Service have appeared on public and private property throughout Orangeville, and whereas complaints have been submitted about the placement of these signs, and whereas such bag signs are prohibited by sign bylaw number 28-2013, and whereas council encourages public engagement and recognizes the high level of public interest in the provision of policing services for the town of Orangeville, and whereas council wishes to afford residents the opportunity to voice their opinion on the policing issue on their own property while respecting the right of other residents to expect reasonable enforcement of town bylaws. Therefore, be it resolved that council directs staff to enforce the provisions of bylaw number 28-2013 related to Keep Orangeville Police Service bag signs posted on public property, town-owned boulevards, parks, roads, etc., and to take no action with respect to Keep Orangeville Police Service bag signs placed on private property with the owner's consent.
We have a seconder for this? Councillor Taylor. Any further discussion, council members? So just to reiterate for the record, we want to make sure that residents have the opportunity to voice their opinion about this matter, and however, on public property, these signs are not to be installed. Madam Clerk.
I just want to confirm that council intends to vote on this and is therefore waiving the notice on this motion.
That is our intent. Councillor Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Sherwood, who made the motion. This just came to me, but I wonder if the motion should include a phrase, something like up to and including the date of a decision, so that we sort of have a time frame for which this would apply if everyone was in agreement.
Madam Clerk, would you agree to that? Makes perfect sense. So do we want to put a date of December 10th down? Is that, I mean, we may or may not make a decision at that time or before that time, but I think that'll be the end of the consultation and decision-making period. Okay. All right, all in favor? That's passed unanimously, thank you. Okay, unfinished business. Anything? Okay, so 17.1, this is a chronology of what town council and town staff have determined to be the consultation that we're going to have with public, and also the timeline with which various documents are going to be delivered to town council. So this reviewing here, Monday, September the 9th, our intention is to have a council meeting, venue to be determined, where the Orangeville Police Service will provide a community information presentation and a question and answer session open to all members of the public. On Tuesday, September the 10th, another council meeting where the Ontario Provincial Police will provide a community information presentation, and it will be open for question and answer session from the public. Following that, on Monday, October the 7th, it is our intention that there's another council meeting where mayors and CEOs of other municipalities who have gone through the transition period will come in front of council and will be available to answer questions from residents of Orangeville. It is our intention on Monday, October 21st, to receive a consultant's report that will be presented at that time. Again, we were intending on October the 28th to have a council meeting where public comments on the provision of policing services following the consultant's report will be open to the public. On Monday, November the 11th, it is our intention to have a council meeting, and at that meeting, town staff will provide their report and recommendations on the provision of policing service for the town of Orangeville. And at any time following or during the meeting of November the 11th, town council will make a decision on either retaining Orangeville Police Service or moving to the OPP, and we need to conclude that decision by December the 9th. Any comments from council members regarding that chronology? Okay, well, may we have an offer to accept that and approve that? Councillor Post, second. Oh, I'm sorry, you have a question? I'm sorry, Councillor Sherwood. Go right ahead.
Yes, perhaps, Your Worship, Mr. Brennan can answer this. We have put out RFPs for the consultant, and can you tell me when the timeline is to perhaps have that person hired? Or that company, sorry.
Your Worship, through you, the RFP has been released last week. We are hoping to have a consultant hired and in place by the end of June, which will give them until October 21st to conduct a review and present to council.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan.
Okay, so I think we had Councillor Post as seconded by Deputy Mayor McIntosh. All in favor? Okay, that passes unanimously. New business, Councillor Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two quick items, if you don't mind. The first, through you to perhaps the clerk or Mr. Brennan. Could you share when we might see the terms of reference for the Transit Committee and how that process may roll out in the next few months?
Your Worship, through you, myself and the mayor had some discussions on this. We're hoping over the next several weeks to have something back to council in the form of, I guess, terms of reference for the committee itself on what we're looking at, and then move it forward from there.
I think, I know, you won't be at the next meeting, correct? But I think we can determine that within the next week to 10 days, we'll finalize that terms of reference. Mr. Brennan, I would like to see that happen, and perhaps we'll be able to present it at the next meeting for your consideration and approval. I think.
Great. And if you don't mind, while I've got the mic to avoid the IT complications, just wanted to remind everybody that this Saturday will be the 4th annual public bike ride. We'll be starting at Kin Family Park at 9 a.m. It's always a great time. The police service escorts us. We're doing about 5.5 kilometers across various trails and roads and lanes, ending at the farmers market. Wide open event for families, any ages, any form of wheeled transportation, self-propelled. So always a good time, and encourage everybody to come out. Hopefully have great weather.
Very good. Thank you. Councillor Andrews.
Through you, Your Worship, again, under other business, again, I wanted to compliment Councillor Peters for that. I will be out there with my bike too as well, so looking forward to it. I would like to just take a couple of seconds, two items, one of which to congratulate the DCCRC, the Dufferin County Cultural Resource Circle, for the official unveiling and naming of their new healing garden. For those of us on council who are able to be there and those in spirit were there, I think it was really a kind of a remarkable an event, but also a location where those of us who have had a connection to our Indigenous community really see the commitment And I think the commitment by our community here, and Mr. Osmond, again, I'd like to thank you for your assistance in cultivating and seeing that particular location come to fruition, and all the other supporters of that. So if anyone who's watching or listening, I encourage you to check that out, which is located at the Alder location near Bravery Park. The second part, I just wanted to again congratulate Councillor Peters for his recommendation for Jurassic Park Orangeville, and of course the support of the members of council, and of course our Mayor Brown too as well. I know that some of us might be watching the clock because the game starts at such and such a time, but we're not really worried about that. But again, I thought that it really brought our community together in so many different ways. And again, just wanted to publicly thank you for the initiative and congratulate our community for coming together in a very civil way. It really was a special Sunday and a special Friday, and hopefully Monday night will be special too, and we'll find that out by about midnight tonight.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Andrews. Councillor Sherwood.
Yes, Your Worship, thank you. I just wanted to put a mention out to some of our Orangeville Northmen, and I wanted to congratulate, we have some of our Northman boys who have made Team Ontario, and they are going to be representing us in BC. Unfortunately, I do not know their ages. By looking at them, they look to be 10 or 12, but I just want to wish them best of luck, and hopefully they'll represent Orangeville well in BC. Good luck, boys.
Councillor Post.
Lots of new business tonight. Just in the spirit of inclusion and diversity, before our next council meeting, we do have two great events coming to the town of Orangeville that I just wanted to make everybody aware of. The 5th Annual Indigenous Peoples Day in Orangeville is being celebrated in Alexandra Park on the 21st and 22nd of June as a 2-day event. And we do also have Celebrate Your Awesome, a celebration of pride and diversity, happening on Mill Street on the 22nd. So lots of great things happening that I'm extremely proud of our community for recognizing these, and I hope to see everybody there.
Great. Following on Councillor Sherwood's comment about lacrosse, I believe there was an Ontario champion in our Orangeville Minor Hockey Association. I think the novice AE team. Does anybody? No. There was an Ontario Minor Hockey Association champion out of Orangeville. I believe it was the novice AE team. Sorry if I got that wrong, but the kids were in the Champions Parade that was put on, and congratulations to that Orangeville minor hockey team as well. Any other new business, Council? Okay. So we also have item 18.1, which is a recommendation that a council meeting be held on Monday, August 26th at a time to be determined for the purpose of considering a new development charges bylaw. May I have a motion to accept that recommendation? No. Councillor Taylor, you want to talk further to that?
Just want to clarify, so that's an incremental meeting over and above what we currently have?
Yes, it is. Okay, so we do have some councillor conflicts. We'll have to work that out. Anyway, we'll need to, okay, so Councillor Sherwood, motion to accept, seconded by Councillor Post. All in favor? 5-2. We have Deputy Mayor McIntosh and Councillor Taylor in opposition. They have conflicts on that date. Okay. Moving on to 19, this is a confirmation bylaws as follows. A bylaw to appoint Nandini Syed as treasurer for the town of Orangeville, bylaw to appoint Karen Landry as clerk for the town of Orangeville, and a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the corporation of the town of Orangeville at special council meetings held on May 30th and June 5th, and its regular and closed council meetings held on June the 10th. May I have a motion? Councillor Peters, seconded by Councillor Sherwood. All in favor? May I have a motion to adjourn? Councillor Taylor, seconded by Deputy Mayor McIntosh. All in favor? Go Raptors. Okay.